I'm going to be walking us through how to do the data storage activity. So let's go ahead and get started. I already have Android Studio open. We're going to start a new Android Studio project and call it Shared Preferences Example, as in how the document names it. We're just going to keep things simple. The package name, take note of that, that's important. Minimum SDK is usually a very good suggestion. Empty activity, and we're just going to let it create the activity for us. From this point on, it will take a little while to build an index, so it's just, I'm going to skip through this, so you don't have to watch that. Alright, so now we're going to start with the layout. Under app, res, which stands for resources, layout, we'll find our activity underscore main.xml. And we're going to delete hello world and resize everything so it's a bit easier to work with. Right, so look for text. We want plain text, one password. The plain text will be for the username, password is for password, and button. Now I'm going to edit its properties to match what we need it to be. Username, edit text, enter. Hint should be, just gonna give it a moment. Username, enter. Text, delete, enter. And for this, we're going to also change this to password, edit text. I am pressing enter after every time I finish entering in the text that goes in. Hint, password. Text password, that sounds good to me. Password. Okay. The button will be called store button, with the text stating store. ID is what we're going to use to refer to it in the main activity. And we're going to add some constraints so that it looks the way we want it to. I'm going to pull that there. This will be anchored to this. Guess we could also, doesn't really matter at this point, it's just kind of for the look rather than the demonstration. But actually, oh no, that's not what I meant to do. Could expand horizontally. And anchor the button there, so that when it runs, it looks the way we want it to. Now, save and go to main activity. Here, I'm just going to copy and paste the code in. I don't recommend doing this if you're trying to learn, simply because I find typing each line in helps me to understand what each line does. But for the sake of time and brevity, I am going to just copy and paste. Here's our code. Save. Note that find view by ID does exactly what it says. It finds the view here based on ID, and these are all views, text view, button, they are all subclasses of view. Find view and r.id.passwordEditText is the way to not hard code the ID. R stands for resources, and passwordEditText is the ID that we gave to passwordEditText. So that's what that's going to find there. When you edit passwordEditText's ID here, later on, if you change it and press enter, it will ask you if you want to update the references as well in the code. Usually you want to say yes to that. Otherwise it won't be able to find your instances. You won't be able to manipulate it in code. Save, run. Initializing ADB. I'm going to create a new virtual device so you can see how to create a new virtual device. I'm going to go with Nexus 5X, simply because it's what's selected. System image NOGAT. And I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to go with everything that's already there. It created another one. Okay. Before I skip this part, I'd like to say that you don't always need to create a virtual device. I'm just doing that because I don't have an Android device plugged in. So we're going to just run it on the virtual device. And we wait for the emulator to get started and finish booting up. This will take a while. I'll just fast forward this so you don't have to watch this. Alright, so that button is a little too close. I should have anchored it horizontally to these text fields so that they would have all been aligned. That's neither here nor there. Enter username and password. Any username and or password. I'm going to go with Krutz for our username and password. That's password. Don't use password as your passwords. Not good. Store. Your data has been stored successfully. Now, I'm going to leave this running because Instant Run will rebuild only the parts that need to be rebuilt and reload the app later. So it will benefit us to leave that running. I'm going to open the terminal. Ooh, look at that. And we are going to see that other people can read the data. Going to the path given in, let's see if we can make it bigger. Just the text, not the window. Okay. SDK platform tools. And we're going to run ADB shell. And use ADB shell to execute our package, which is why I said that we should take note of what the package name is called. In our case, it's right up here, so it makes everything a bit simpler if you'd forgotten to write that down. Shared preferences example. Now, let's see. Let's go to shared prefs. That's the shared preferences that we saved. We can look at my pref login. As you can see, it's clear as day the username and password that we put in. This is a problem, as you can see. There are two solutions we could use to encrypt the stored data so that it's not readable to anybody, legible to anyone. Actually, you would use the word readable. Readable to anyone who wants to take a look at your login credentials. One is to encrypt your sensitive data so that store the key somewhere else that's a little more secure, and you need to access the key in some approved manner in order to use the key to decrypt your scrambled, obfuscated message or credentials, as in this case. We could also store the sensitive data on a cloud server and retrieve it when needed. So we're going to add a simple encryption technique, a cipher method, into this activity to show that encryption will make it hard to get your login credentials back. We're going to be using Caesar cipher. As a warning, Caesar cipher is not in any way secure. It has been broken many times over. We know how to program computers in order to crack it for us. So it's just as a matter of example to see that you can't read something if you do apply a cipher or if you do encrypt. So I'm going to insert code, extra code, in the button listener under the editor right here. Add username. Well, I'm going to remove those two lines. There you go. It's red because cipher method has not been inserted yet. I'm going to do that right now. Outside of the onCreate bundle. Now it should exactly. We can update the application again by clicking Run. Now note that the terminal ADB shell is working only because our virtual device is still running. It refuses to work if you quit out of your virtual device and try to enter it. Not enter it. Alright. Is it running it? Okay, yes. It reloaded the app. Let's do that again. Crutz. Password. Store. Now, I wonder what happens if we try to read it again. As you can see, all I did was rerun the last run command. As you can clearly see, we are not able to understand what that is, and if we had used a proper encryption technique, that would not have been recoverable. That's all for today. Thank you, and have a good rest of your day.